You'll never go out on a training ride and dig that deep.
Awesome. We won gold.
They're life rides.
I'm like, dude, I'm still figuring this out.
Lose sight of the fact that it's whoever goes faster.
This isn't a road race. This is a mountain bike race.
The sensei of spring, Todd Scheske.
My eyes are coming out of my head. Just get in here.
Yeah, so we're just looking at a little race file from last night, from Danny Estevez's race last night. How'd you feel overall in the race, Danny?
I felt pretty good. Didn't know how exactly I was going to feel, but legs felt great, lungs felt good, so just try to make the best of it.
Yeah, and I think you can see you rode a really pretty consistent race. We're just doing just a little overview of kind of how things went. And you can really see this uptick the last 5 laps, where this is where the pressure really kind of comes on. One of the things I think is interesting to note here also, and these are just some kind of high-level notes, and we can drill in a little bit later. But obviously you can see the sprint coming down here. We see this surge in the last. Here's the last lap basically. But one of the things I think is really good to see here is this part right here. We see these. We really took care to take rest.
Yeah.
And this is really close. This is 3 laps from the end. So you make a surge, and obviously you're kind of coming up the hill, and you had to make a big surge. And I think you took a little bit of wind here as well. Yeah. You're sitting a little bit outside. And
yeah.
then it gets to, kind of 2 things with that is don't be afraid to spend a bullet, which
yeah.
you weren't, and because it's more important to get into the spot. And I've had this conversation with a few people lately about spending some bullets near the end and not saving everything. But you spent something, but then you also got back in.
Yeah.
You got a little downhill, but you stayed tucked in. You see almost some 0 watts in you, so you're able to recharge that battery a bit to make that big surge, because you can tell as you get in the last 2 laps, you don't have this more consistent high power going on here, and these are all really high numbers to begin with. But you're taking advantage where you can in the turns, moving
yeah.
up and positionally, and it sets you up to be able to do your last lap, which was fairly high. So yeah, you did. You're edging up 450, 500 watts for your last lap average.
Wow.
So that's so for 2 minutes to put that out there, and with a big push at the end to get that sprint. But you can see how the sprint also, just because of that effort, isn't going to be your season best 5 second.
Right.
So just interesting things to kind of look at when we start looking at those kind of generalities there. The thing I like to look at as well is how much time you spend coasting in a race.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that's important, and we can see that down here.
I did better than last race.
A lot better, right? I mean, and there you are. So you're starting to hit that magic number. And now you were 7th place last night,
yeah.
and you had juice all the way through. You took you got up here for a preem, took
yeah.
$100 preem, and you can see how your watts you were recovering,
yeah.
you were comfortable. You had this early surge, the first 20, 30 minutes, and you got really comfortable. You felt good. You went for a preem, got a preem, and overall in the race, even with all that activity, 13.5% of your time,
yeah.
you were coasting.
Yep.
That's the recharge time and hitting kind of that magic sweet spot of getting that recovery.
Yep.
So those are just some kind of like some high level things to start looking at, and we'll start digging in a little bit more to kind of where were the big highlight, or the more particular highlights, I should say, not the big ones, but those are kind of the big highlights we see. Really consistent throughout, taking time to recover before the big surge. Staying out of the wind and spending those bullets when you need to.
Yeah.
So that's good, and that's encouraging to see. Is something we had talked about before, is just as a mindset of recover when you can, take the easy ones.
I had you in my head all night. I mean, that doesn't sound right, but definitely served me a good lesson. So
yeah, and well applied. So
out of the wind, recover, coast, recover.
Yeah, and when you go, then you're going really hard.
Exactly.
And makes a difference. So cool. So we're gonna look at some other details in a little bit here, but that just kind of gives a quick overview.